those photographs from space are entirely correct, and it's just that what has to be taken into account when we take data from those photographs is that light traveling through space is curved by gravity. And so it'll make straight things appear curved.
Now, I know many of you probably don't understand what he's trying to tell you in this video clip. I'm going to break it down real quick. This is going to be a very extensive series of videos because it's so much to cover, because you change the physics of everything when you introduce this very true reality, which makes perfect sense, and all of the math and science around us supports it. Now, I'm going to try to explain a little bit of what he's saying, and we're going to be skipping around. He's explaining to you basically the way light bends. Now, this leads into a whole nother section of the video, but I'm gonna just iterate it briefly now. If you look at the picture in front of you now, this is one of the original illustrations of what our ancestors described to be the nature of our true reality. If you notice a section called the firmament. Now, you're looking at a side view of this image. I'll show you some 3D views later. We'll get deeper into it. But if you notice the arch, if we were enclosed in a firmament, it supports all of the facts in this description if you go out and observe your own reality. I'm gonna get to that later. Now, basically what he's saying about the light is that another example to break what he's saying down in a nutshell. If you squint your eyes, or some of you may know how to become cross-eyed, if you make yourself cross-eyed, you actually see double, okay? Now think about this. What if I make myself cross-eyed and I'm seeing double, and I was to snap a picture of that distorted image and give it to you? That wouldn't be the real image. That'll be the image you saw as if I was cross-eyed, but not the real image that's there. Basically, you're getting a distorted image. What am I saying? When NASA so-called went to space, they didn't go as far as we think. As you can see in this diagram where the stars is located according to the ancestors, and we're going to be getting into all that later, so stay with me. I'm trying to break down a concept to you right now. When NASA go to space, they use a certain lens that I would say exaggerate this phenomenon of the way light bend. Now, if you was looking at an image of the flat plane Earth from as high up as they are, it would appear bent the same way it would appear if I gave you a distorted image that I took if I was cross-eyed. But that's not the true image. What you would have to do is use what they call a lens corrector, which everyone uses if you work in photography, or even all Hollywood movies. They wouldn't dare put a movie out where they don't, edit and enhance the correction of the lens, because every image is going to give a distortion or a false image through a lens based on the way light behaves. I don't know if that helped you understand. So in a nutshell, what I'm telling you guys is that when NASA went to space, they didn't go as far up as they told us they went, and we'll get to that later. Now, what they saw when they got to their max peak scared them, people. When they got up there, everything the ancestors said about the nature of our true reality, they was actually able to prove it true to themselves. So when they got up there, they was hoping to prove it wrong with Copernicus' heliocentric model, but those first space explorations stopped because they found out the truth, and there's no need to go up there and keep on looking at something that just aches your heart. Okay, and now when they got up there, they never saw a circular globe spinning in space, people. You got to understand how far they would have to go to even see that based on the science they give us. All of those pictures are Photoshop, and we're going to get into that later. So stay with me now. But what they saw was an endless plane, like the picture you see at the bottom. Now, the one at the top is the original footage that they will give to you on these fake shows like the History Channel and all of that. And if you ain't know, NASA just purchased part in GoPro, because GoPro lenses actually helps enhance the bending of the horizon. So they're creating an illusion. So you can imagine 100 years from now, a person looking at a picture from space would actually believe Copernicus' fake theory of a circular globe planet based on these false distorted images that NASA and GoPro and Photoshop is giving us. Not to mention NASA has more painters than scientists, and we're going to get into that later. So stay with me, people. This rabbit hole goes deep. Now, basically what you're looking at on the bottom is the actual picture of what they saw when they went up there. And when they turned around, people, on every side, they saw an endless flat plane, no matter how high up they went. And we don't have the technology to keep going up high to see if it curves eventually. But based on the math, if you was to take the line you see in front of you, which stretch hundreds and hundreds of miles, and draw it out and draw it out and draw it out, it would never make a circle. Okay, so that proves that this straight line should bend if there was any curvature. So since they saw no curvature, what they saw was an endless earth plane, just like our ancestors said. Now, the spear part of the planisphere, coming to the understanding now of what a planisphere is. It's simply what the words say. It's an infinite plane, and what we call the earth is enclosed in a spherical dome, as you see illustrated in this picture that the ancestors have of the cosmos here. So we're enclosed in a spherical dome on an endless plane, and I'm going to demonstrate to you what that is right now. Okay, I'm back, everybody. I couldn't find much, but I found a few items that I can use to give you a demonstration of what I'm talking about. So picture this poster as an endless plane, okay? No edges. It just stretches on and on and on of blue and green hills and mountains and waterfalls and lovely creatures and lands. Hey, let's even be even more imaginative. Maybe there's lands that stretch the size of the United States, full of red roses across this endless plain. So when they tell us about planets rotating in these different worlds that have, like, one world may be a super earth full of water, and you can have this planet that's full of diamond, or a planet made of gold, or maybe a planet that's, you know, made of this or that. What they're saying is, yes, there are these different planets, but what are you saying when you say planet? Different planes, okay? Now we're finna get into what a planetarium or a planisphere really is. On this infinite plane that stretches across the infinite universe full of blue and green beautiful features, there are planetariums. So if you can imagine this poster being an endless plane, okay, and you can imagine that, for example, when we say the firmament, which makes the planetarium on the endless plane, would be something like this. So picture a bunch of ants on this endless plane. We call them humans, okay? Running around this endless plane, a bunch of humans, right? And let's just draw their section of this endless plane. Their section of this endless plane is a circle. Not a globe, a disc, flat circle on an endless plane. Now first let me get to you the geographics of the disc first that we are living on, a flat plane disc, and I'm going to show you how this works. The plane is infinite. It doesn't shape like a disc. It stretches throughout the infinite universe, this plane that we're calling Earth. Now what we're referring to as Earth is actually a small section of the plane like this, and we've been told this is a globe when really we're on a flat disc. And if I was to do this, all of this area, okay, right here would be the Arctic belt, would be, okay, or the polar caps or the poles, which is all the ice and everything which surrounds everything. What they're telling you, for example, is that we're on a globe. I'm sorry, I can't draw a perfect circle, huh? Okay, they're saying we're on a globe, and up here is ice, and up here is, this is ice, and this is ice, right? So they're saying when you're sailing around this globe, no matter when you go up and down, you will meet ice on every side. So that would be fit true on even a globe model based on their design, which was genius to even tie into the way no matter where you sail in the ocean, you meet ice, because we're sailing this way and this way, which is up and down. So they can create the illusion of you being on a globe and having polar caps when really what the ancestors was said was we're on a flat disk. And what they are guarding, and I'm going to get into that later, what the UN are guarding at all of these ice barriers that surround us, because this would be, okay, the North Pole. All of this would be what they call Antarctica, and it surrounds us. And I'm going to show y'all how this works later. It makes perfect sense. This is just a demonstration. Now, everywhere we sail on this planet, we reach an ice barrier. And I'm going to be getting into a whole videos just on Antarctica because all of this stuff tie in together. Now, here is what they say the North Pole. Now, keep in mind, this is all so-called Antarctica. So it works on the ancestors' model and also on their model. But the illusion, like I told you, is that you're sailing on a globe when really, if you hadn't saw the previous videos, the scientists gave a good example.
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way. And he's creating a circle. He's moving in a continuous direction around. He goes through the various parts of the circle, and he comes back where he started from. Swim around this way.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
So if this is the Antarctic section, let's put some continents here. Let's say that's a continent, this a continent, this a continent, this a continent. So sailors are sailing around a circle, saying they are circumnavigating a globe. But the math to that makes no sense. We just proved that NASA is BS. So this is what's going on. But if you run a circle around your block, it doesn't prove your street block to be a globe. It proves that you're on a flat plane running in a circle. So, back to Antarctica, which is an ice barrier separating. It stretches all the way to the edge of the firmament. And I'm going to prove to you what the ancestors was showing us, y'all. So stay with me. So picture that these are continents. You have militaries that guard this whole barrier of Antarctica. Also, this hole right here, which is the center of the Earth, which is a hole that go all the way into the interior of the Earth, has been guarded for years. And there's a whole nother lecture I'm going to do on what this hole is right here, what they are guarding, and actually what this is on this planisphere. Let's stick to the subject. So this gives you an example of the geographics of the surface of the flat plane. The plane is infinite. We are enclosed to a certain section that we seem to be restricted to by this ice barrier right here. What they call in Antarctica actually stretches so far that we would run out of all the gas on Earth before we got halfway to this outer edge. And if we were to make it there, we will see a physical firmament that was built by the hands of the Most High Creator. But no one will never make it to this edge. If you look at the movie Truman Show, he reached the edge, okay? But now let me give you another example here. Just say if you was looking at Truman Show and when he reached the edge, he was met by ice, harsh weather, stuff of that nature. He would go so far and turn around and give up, because the distance from where the caps start on the edge to the outer edge of the firmament, we're talking distances that they describe in the space, what NASA be telling you, but going on a flat direction. So we can never make it to the edge of Antarctica. It stretches out, people, from the where the crust start to the edge. We're talking we would run out of all the fuel on Earth before we got near halfway. So that's a barrier that the ancestors spoke of, this ice barrier that you can see in all of the ancient illustrations of our reality all of the pictures have this ice disk circling all of the continents.